Man. Good morning or good evening. Welcome to the Bubba and Johnny Warrior Conspiracy Theory Friday show. I'm Bubba with my co-host.
And I'm Johnny Warrior.
You the man. So how is life for you, Johnny?
The man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay, man. I've just been kind of vegging out lately. It's been
the weather has actually shifted from the real hot to the less hot and moving in. It seems like it's kind of wearing us out a little bit. I think it's kind of wearing everybody out here.
Yeah, I agree. I think so as well. So, okay, so what are we talking about today, brother?
We are going to talk about white ladies.
All right.
The white lady myth of the Philippines. Now, let's like we always do. Let's first talk about what is a white lady and how it perpetuates from, and then we're going to get into some of our own personal stories. We want to have any of the audience that has personal stories lined up if they want to come on the show and tell their story. Is that okay with you? Because I think that'd be kind of cool to hear it.
That is fine by me.
Okay, so first let's go ahead and talk. Let's define exactly what we're talking about. White lady in general is unilaterally not just a Philippine phenomenon, but it really originated in the United States, Ireland, Great Britain. That Anglo-Saxon type culture, Celtic culture, influence. And generally speaking, it is a female clothed in white clothing associated with a tragic event, seen most commonly rurally, right? The white lady on the side of the road, the white lady that walks this road, the white lady. And in fact, they call them
the white lady. Most commonly,
gins. They call them gins. Now, like I said, this is a worldwide phenomenon, right?
Yes.
And when we talk about, it just seems like the popularity is huge. And I think what it is Filipinos and Filipinas, the Philippine people love a horror story. They do. They love mystery and scaring little kids, and they use those type of stories a lot of times, just like Native Americans used to do, like the Hopi, the Navajo. A lot of their stories, man, that would come and grab kids, stuff like that. Well, these stories perpetuate along that line, giving to young children, and it propagates superstition, because Filipinos are superstitious people anyway.
Oh,
it's a lot of superstition from So now here there is a unilateral, there is some consistency here. The most prominent white lady is in Balete Drive in Quezon City. And it's a ghost of long-haired woman in a white dress. And according to the legend, she died in a car accident while driving along a Balete Drive. Most stories about her were told by taxi drivers during graveyard shifts, such as the one where a crosses Balete Drive and a very beautiful woman is asked for a ride. The cabbie looks behind and sees the woman's face was full of bruises, causing him to abandon his taxi in terror. All right. Doesn't that sound kind of familiar? Stories that are associated with that in the United States?
Believe it or not, I have not heard a lot of white lady stories.
Well, you've not heard about, the lone female hitchhiker in white.
Yeah, yes, I have Heard that. Yeah, that's true. That is the same thing.
Yes, so it's nothing. These stories propagate that, So ask your question, yourself, it is this, just urban legends being passed along from generation to generation, and this is the new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here is something that names, but there's a popular vlogger out of Behold that's a close personal friend of mine. And he will stand there, look you in the eye, and he will sit there and tell you about the white lady that property. All right. And he's seen it multiple times. And, he knows, he believes it's real. And he believes that, there's a lot of things that go on that's like mystical about the Philippines in general that we may not understand as Westerners, but are very, very real and very, very evident. And most people are like, well, if I don't see it, I don't believe it, kind of thing. But
yeah,
have you had any since you've been here a while? So have you had any experiences with white ladies in the Philippines?
no, I have not. None whatsoever. I think I know the most popular and the most famous white lady is actually in Rochester, New York. It was
Yes, that's
a lot. I think what a lot of them have in common, or at least a lot of them, it seems, stories I've heard and read, is that it always involves the theme of a loss of a daughter or betrayal of a husband. And the woman generally kills herself, or the daughter dies. The daughter just disappears, or she dies a tragic death. They usually all the ones I've heard have run along those same lines. In my experience, from what I've read and heard. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I can't hear anything either. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I can't hear Johnny. Okay. Okay. Well, they can hear me. We can't hear you, Johnny. There you are. The white lady. Johnny, did the white lady get you?
Are you there?
I am. Can you?
Yeah, I lost you a minute. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, man.
Well, that's all right. I asked. I said, "Can y'all hear me?" And they said, "Yeah, we hear you, but we couldn't hear you." They heard me, but not you.
So nobody heard me at all?
Not for the last minute or two, no. I got to where I was saying.
Okay, Wes has got it. All right.
So we thought the white lady got you.
Yeah. Sky Dragon saying, "White lady got me." Yeah.
That's it.
All right, I'm back. All right, I heard you talking about the Rochester and
Yes.
Asian with usually a tragic death of a daughter, tragic death, a slighted woman.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my question: what stories have you heard specifically here in the Philippines?
I have not really heard any white lady stories here in the Philippines. Probably the most famous one I know of would be there's a ghost, a white lady in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and supposedly it is Theodosia Burr, who was the daughter of Aaron Burr. She just disappeared on a ship. The ship went down and the ship just disappeared, and supposedly she has been seen walking the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That's probably the most famous one I know of.
Mm.
And
Hey,
Aaron Burr, of course, killed Alexander
Can I
Hamilton.
ask you guys?
Go ahead.
Hey guys, I want to ask the audience: am I the one that's breaking up and not coming in clear? Bubba breaking up and not coming clear. I need to isolate where this is so that I can tell me. It would be cool. It would be nice.
That would
So
be really awesome.
you have never had any
Supposedly,
experiences whatsoever with a ghost?
no. I have heard there is one here. Well, I've had experiences, one supernatural experience when I was a teenager, but it doesn't relate to a white lady.
Okay, Bubba, it's my connection. I'm gonna try to fix it. Keep talking, and I will come back on. Let me try to fix my connection. All right.
Okay. Okay. I visited a house outside of Bowling Green, Virginia. There's a friend of mine living there. It was a big old house, red brick, and it was a plantation. The house was built, I think, the early 1800s. And we all went out one night. We left. All the lights were off in the house, except for the front porch light. When we came back, all the lights in the house were on. Nobody was there. Doors locked, everything. That was like my supernatural experience. So, and hopefully Johnny can get that straightened out and we can resume the show. If not, we could still resume the show. It just won't be as long. So if any of you guys have any ghost stories you'd like to share, I could throw you a link and have you on if you want. I'm going to go ahead and throw the link out there. And right down the road from this house in Bowling Green is a house that has literally been in books and everything else. Yeah, now that was a cool ghost pic that you sent, by the way. Sky Dragon. That was a cool picture. I was checking that out. I'm like, that is really bizarre. Sky Dragon sent me a pic, and it's at a construction site, and you could plainly see a white outline of a figure, of like a ghost, a dude, if I'm not mistaken. So, but it was a pretty cool pic, actually, of like a ghost, a dude. Okay, go ahead and mute the volume.
And she has immunity and she wasn't TOs on the bottom. Like, it must have been a risk on
Who's got immunity? He muted himself. I meant mute the show, not yourself. It's fine. Wait for Johnny. Okay. So what's everybody doing for the weekend? Anybody got any plans?
Okay, can you hear me, Bubba?
I hear you loud and clear, brother. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, okay. Another day in paradise.
Oh yeah.
So
I want to throw a GPS link out on the chat window.
okay.
And that is where that ghost sighting was. It's a natural gas fracking site.
Okay.
And if you go to Google Maps and look at that, you'll see the pad. But what's interesting is right across the street from that pad is an abandoned elementary school. They call it the Ellerby Road School.
Okay.
And that school's kind of famous locally for all the ghost sightings.
Cool. It's funny. The elementary school I went to, grades 1 through 5, was in Southern Maryland, and last I checked, back in the 80s, it became a church. So, so I think the only ghost that would probably be there would be the Holy Ghost. I think so.
But what's interesting about that is, if you're familiar with fracking for natural gas, what they're doing is they're sending salt water down in the ground under tremendous pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go in and they crack all the shell rock down there, and it frees up the natural gas to flow back up the well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you heard stories of like before earthquakes and stuff that people see balls of light and everything.
Yeah, kind of like the Mothman.
Yeah. Anyway, in areas before an earthquake, people will come up with, sightings of stuff. And if you think about it, it's the same thing going on. It's a lot of pressure in the bedrock, cracking it and releasing a sudden amount of energy. And that's the same thing that fracking is doing. It's called, if there's quartz in the bedrock, it creates what they call a piezoelectric effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the theory where those balls of light come from. So if there's that much energy released and, ghost sighting at the same time,
Oh, okay.
Just something to think about.
Yeah. I just Googled that. I don't know. I must have did it wrong, but I copied and pasted it. And okay, Google Maps. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So have you been there?
I have not been there myself. My wife has been there. She was on a safety team out at that site. It's not far from us.
Okay. That would be interesting.
It was one of her coworkers that actually took that picture on his on a smartphone. So there was no editing.
Yeah, it's really hard to edit stuff on a smartphone, I think. For some reason, Google is not being very cooperative today.
What?
Which doesn't surprise me.
My wife said the guy who took the picture didn't see it with the naked eye, but it did show up on his phone screen after he took the picture.
Oh, okay.
A little bit creepy.
Yeah, that would kind of creep me out too, I think, a little bit. Okay. Why is this not working right? I think my laptop is haunted.
Oh, those coordinates aren't coming up?
Yeah, I don't know. Why not?
Should put you in the northwest corner of Louisiana.
Well, I'm typing it in, but it's not. I copy and pasted it, but it's not. Maybe I need to write latitude and longitude.
Let's see.
Weird. I don't know. Maybe there's something about the. I just copied and pasted it at first and just popped it in, and a bunch of weird crap just came up. Let's try this again.
Yeah.
Now, what if I take out the minus and the comma?
Hold on, I'm going back to the Google Maps to see if I can pull it up.
Okay. Yeah, it's a conspiracy. That's it.
Oh, yeah, now it's telling me it can't find it.
It's a conspiracy.
Well, that was useless, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all right. It was
Well, all you're going to see is a few drilling pads and a banded skull. It's kind of dilapidated now.
Actually, I wonder if I can. I wonder if I could pull up that picture and throw it on into the room. I might be able to do that. That is a possibility. I'd have to open up another browser window, but that's no problem. So, okay. But anyway, so did your wife ever witness anything creepy there?
No, she has not. And like I said, the guy who took the picture didn't even see it until, it came up on his phone and he saw it later.
Okay. Yeah, I would imagine. So, are there a lot of, well, Louisiana's supposed to be a pretty haunted place.
Was in such disbelief on the phone, he emailed it
Especially New Orleans.
and pull it up on his computer to see if he was actually seeing what he thought he would see.
Yeah, Louisiana has a lot of legends. A lot of them are down south around the New Orleans area.
Yeah.
I think that has to do with all the rum down there.
Yeah. The rum, and then of course was it Marie Laveau, the voodoo queen?
Yeah, all the voodoo.
And then you had of course, Jean Lafitte, his brother owned a bar there on Bourbon Street or thereabouts in that area. And supposedly, I guess that's supposed to be haunted. There's a lot of haunted places there. Are they getting rid of Beauregard's house or something? Or I heard something about that. The house where General Beauregard lived. I've heard that's pretty haunted.
I have not heard anything on that.
Did you put in
French Quarter, New Orleans, and the Garden District, and
yeah, he lived in the Garden District.
Yeah, that area is ripe with ghostesses.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. So,
well, my wife is saying that John Lafitte haunts the Destrehan plantation down there.
Huh. Okay.
So, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's like yeah, I grew up in the DC area. There's tons of ghost stories there, DC, Virginia, and all that area, because it's so old. There's still a lot of old houses there from the 1700s, 1800s, and all that. Of course, the White House is supposed to be haunted. Of course, that's pretty easy to see, considering how many people have lived there and how long it's been there. But I guess Johnny has not been able to get back on. So,
yeah, he doesn't have a good connection up there. He drops off a lot.
Yeah. And I think he's staying with his in-laws or by his in-laws, and I guess their connection, some days it's good, some days it's bad. It's like generally my connection is pretty good, but Quintong Baloo, he lives on the other side of Davao City. A lot of times his connection isn't that good, but it's a lot better than it used to be. I know that since he switched servers. But sometimes that's one thing about here. I'm going to tell everybody, if you plan on trying to make a living online or do a lot of stuff online, when you come here, you really need to check the area you're living at, because you may get a crappy internet connection. It may be crappy in your area, but if you go, half a mile away, it may be fantastic. So it's really a crapshoot, because now before we lived here, we lived in another place and the connection was pretty good. But before that, the place we lived in, it sucked. It was absolutely terrible. Plus, too, I think we had Globe, and they were awful. and ever since I've gone to Sky, you know, from time to time I'll have a hiccup, and usually all I'll do is just unplug my Wi-Fi and then leave it unplugged for a couple minutes and then plug it back in, and then usually everything's fine.
Yeah.
And so it's really a crapshoot.
If the guys listening want to see that picture, I'll post it in my videos later this evening. It's pretty cool.
Fine. And if you actually want to send it to me again, I'll actually could even use it for the thumbnail for the show.
Okay.
So this way too, that would be cool as well. So people could check it out. But yeah, put it up on your channel, man. That'd be awesome. So, but so do you have any good personal ghost stories?
Myself? No, not other than that one.
Okay, that's still a good one. So, well, hell, so what you doing this weekend? So we're kind of going off the conspiracy theory stuff here, but
man, I haven't even thought about this weekend.
That's right. It's Thursday night there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are on Central Time.
Yeah, I'm Central.
Okay, so you're 13 hours behind us, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's 9:44 p.m.
9:45. Yeah.
Okay, Thursday night.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird how that works, the international timeline, because technically you're closer to me than the East Coast, yet the East Coast time-wise is 12 hours. Central's 13 and the West Coast is 15. It's kind of weird how that international timeline works, because obviously it's a shorter plane flight from here to Los Angeles than it would be from here to Miami. But because the international timeline and the way that works, it's actually a longer in time, a bigger time difference from here to the West Coast than it is from here to the East Coast. It's weird.
Yeah, it seems like it's backwards there.
Yeah, it kind of does. So, okay. I got to send Johnny another link.
See back up.
My connection has been rebooted twice. Yeah, I think he's having issues. So, yeah, he's having some issues there. It's weird, though, because his last show, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's only when he's on with me. Okay, there we go. Or links in the chat. One second.
What's your email, Bubba? GreatSupremeLeader@gmail.
Yeah, you could send it to that one, or you could send it. Yeah, actually, no. It's here. I'll type it here in the Google chat box.
All right.
This is the one I always check.
I'm here.
All right, brother. Missed you, man.
So did you catch all that, Johnny?
What's that?
Did you catch all that on the ghost?
No, man. I've been trying, Sky Dragon, I've been trying to reboot this like 2 times already, so I'm hoping I'm stable enough to where I'm not going to be garbling.
Right. Well, what I was telling Bubba, that picture I sent you and Bubba.
Yeah.
At the drilling site.
Yeah.
What that is, it's a fracking site where they're sending salt water down the hole and putting it under, you know, extreme pressure to crack the substrate and free up all the natural gas to come back up. And that site is directly across the street from an abandoned school, which is locally known to be haunted. But what I was telling Bubba, what I was telling Bubba is, like, in times before earthquakes where people report seeing, you know, floating balls of light and stuff like that. Well, I guess scientists have determined that's from a piezoelectric effect from quartz in the ground under high pressure. And I was theorizing that the same thing could be happening here with the fracking. All the high pressure going into the ground is releasing energy. And that's what was happening at the time the man took that picture.
That's interesting. Because, I mean, I've seen Foxfire, you know, and I can totally relate why people would, it's kind of creepy. But, you know, knowing that it's methane gas release and everything like that, you kind of understand it. You know, there's several areas that they have that anomaly that is a weather anomaly of areas, straight line areas that are over a hill related to oncoming traffic or traffic areas. And at night, those traffic lights can actually refract and then come back down and look like lights that are hovering where there's, you know, no traffic or anything like that. And that's been proven. But I mean, I've had a couple personal experiences myself concerning family home back in my birth state is, you know, very, very, very old, back when it was a territory. And there's a house that's been converted to a studio and just like an office, stuff like that. It used to have wooden floor. It has since the wooden floors have been removed and it's now concrete. But at night, you can go out there and you can still hear boots scuffing on the floor when I was a kid. I think I was about like 10, 11 years old. My grandparents kind of raised me. And my grandmother told me my grandfather was sleeping in the back room, so go wake your grandfather up for chow. So I ran back there, and the door was open. I saw my grandfather laying on the bed. You know, it was dark, and the light was kind of filtering through the window enough to where I could see the figure on the bed. And I'm like, "Hey, Grandpa, you know, chow's ready. Let's go." You know, he moved from one side to the other. Get up, and so I ran back out in the living room. My grandfather walked the door. That was my great-grandfather who had died in the house. So I've had experiences like that are there, you know, things that I have seen in my life are so easy to explain. But there's other things that it's just like the boot scraping. You know, that theory of how, you know, because that homestead had been attacked, you know, by Indian raids in the past, in the history. You know how they have that theory that tragedy will timestamp, and it's like a tear. It's just like a tear in time, and it's just a little moment and sliver bleeds through, and it's like a movie. It's not like actually an entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a little piece of time that replays itself somehow, and it gets in that it gets through because of tragedy or whatever it was. I'm wondering stuff that's going on out there. It's not, you know, obviously the one that with my grandfather was my great grandfather. There was a couple other things that led me to believe that that happened, but that seeing on Gettysburg, You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
When
yeah.
people are, I think that's what that is. There's a whole another anomaly relative to quantum physics and time continuum, all that stuff that we're just now starting to scrape the surface of. That I think that it replays. It's just on the fabric of what organic life is, and it just at certain times circles around and comes back close enough to where it replays itself. Not that I know that scientifically.
No, I'm pretty much of the same opinion. I mean, energy does not dissipate; it has to go somewhere, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, okay, and see these conversations of ghosts and spirits and stuff like that is a very, very good lead into having conversations in quantum physics. And oh darn, what's his name? Stephen Hawking's, when he did the God particle, and his original theory on that was that he felt that he proved that there was not the existence of a God, because he was able to mathematically equate a void in which only a single particle and maybe some significant anomaly of energy had played into the origin of the vast infinite spectrum of what the universe or the cosmos is. And the reality is, the more and more you dive into the equation itself, the theory, and he himself has since retracted thought. He now is kind of a believer that he's proven that there is the existence of God, because when you have nil, infinite vast void of non-existence, there's only one thing that can maintain any presence in that, and that would be something outside of the realm of logic, outside of the realm of what we see as organic or inorganic, right? So there's a whole other spectrum that we don't even understand. And we start looking at the close parameters that everything's connected to. I mean, just look at like protons and neutrons and the charges and the bonds and non-covalent and covalent bonding that occurs just in the structure of what organic or even inorganic, mass is. The microscopic level, there's this very intimate connection. So how is it that we can sit there and say that these things don't exist or these anomalies don't occur when, everything is partake at some point of mass, energy, imprintable energy, manipulative energy? And I mean, look at the things that occur cosmically when we start talking about novas, supernovas, the structure of the sun at the nuclear level, as the atomic level, and all the energy that's maintained in just the solar cosmos. I mean, then you start going into the micro level, and you're having the same substance of energy at that level, and you're telling me that something isn't able to move along that paradigm? Does that make sense? Something has to be moving back and forth across it, whether you want to call it dimensions, whether you want to call it, whatever, but something has to have the ability to move between that logically, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's very hard to wrap your head around, but something is definitely happening there.
Well,
And
dude, I got a lot of
fact
empty
that we
space in my head.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever been to the Arizona Golf Resorts Club there in Mesa, or it used to be called the Apache Country Club golf course?
In Mesa, Apache Country Club.
Yes.
All right, hold on a minute. Let me rock my memory here. The Apache Resort Club would that be south of Super Highway on the South Mesa side? No, isn't that the country club that was named after?
It's like Arizona Golf Resort, I think is what it's called now. But
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, you know who built a house there back in the 60s, don't you?
No.
It's a show that I know all three of us watched, and probably I'm sure most of our audience. But there's a house at 602 South Edgewater Drive in Mesa. Lauren Green built it. It's an exact replica of the Bonanza house.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Sold for $100,000.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Now in the show, you know, the bedrooms are always upstairs. Well, in the house he built, when you go up the steps, it just leads to an attic. But it's an exact replica of the stage set. You know, for the outside of the house looks exactly like it did in the show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
because I know we all had to watch Bonanza. You there, Scott?
Well, you know the way.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
The way Mesa and Tempe and parts of Phoenix are divided up. You have like McClintock, you have Dobson, you have Warner. You have these roads that are named. All those are ranch districts. Those are the northern bordered end roads of those ranches. So that road ran along those huge cattle ranches and the dairies associated that way back when. You know, so when that area was settled, it was all beef, and there was centrally located around Phoenix proper, a huge orange orchard. You know, that citrus started growing there at very, very long time ago. And but oh yeah, well, you know, the environment, literally the climate of the valley, even when I was growing up, was far different what today's climate is, because you got a couple on everybody, you know, it's desert, dude. I mean, but then you got all these guys.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, then but it already had, the Anasazi had built an ancient irrigation system bringing mountain water down into that region, and it's now called the Salt River Project. But when Phoenix was developing, the Salt River Project was just overlaid on these ancient Anasazi canal routes, and they moved water from the Salt River into these irrigated pastures. So you had a dry climate that very rarely froze, and you could get water on it, a consistent source of water on it. It was perfect. I mean, they were growing, when I grew up, lettuce was a huge, and you know, usually that's a cold weather vegetable, is lettuce. So, you know, in the fall, they would grow lettuce and have huge lettuce crops, cabbage, corn, you know, cotton. Those were all the main staple. That was Gilbert, Chandler, East Mesa, parts of Tempe. That was all agriculture, you know. So it was all, even Yuma had huge agricultural belts where they were growing all types of crops down there as well. And it's really hot down there. But it just, the soil's rich. The soil's good. It just, you know, it needed water to it, and the Anasazi built it. The homesteaders came in, started using those ancient watering belts, you know, watered the entire thing and built the entire valley off of agricultural. Well, as people started developing it, everybody brought in, you know, pools. They got to have the lakes and, you know, all the water parks, and everybody's got to have green grass. Being a valley, it's a bowl. You know what I mean? There's it's horrible. High humidity, You've got freaking, so it gets 112 degrees with, 80% humidity. You think Florida sucks? You have no idea. That's why the Philippines compared to a summer in the freaking valley. It just absolutely sucked.
Yeah. Florida sucks because it's humid.
I'm telling you, is Mesa and Phoenix. Mesa and Phoenix proper are humid as shit and hot.
Really humid.
So not only they have a monsoon season that comes in, and because of all the already existing humidity with all the water that is there in the valley now. So it used to be like 40-50% humidity during the monsoon season, right? No big deal. But now, you're getting up into the 80s, and it's 112, anywhere from 110 to 112 degrees. You walk out, you get blasted, baked, and then you get a little bit of basting with the moisture.
Mm-hmm.
So much concrete, so much. It just sucks.
Yeah, well, when you got a bunch of concrete and glass and all that, man, it's always far hotter. Well, it's like, look at Manila. God.
Yeah.
The heat there is ridiculous.
Oh, Cebu's like that, too. It gets pretty hot in Cebu.
The valley does, too. But, what can you do? It's Southeast Asia.
You can move out provincially where I'm not getting baked by concrete.
Well, actually, there are parts, like you can go by Lake Cebu here, and it's at a higher elevation, and a lot of times the temperature there doesn't get really much above the upper 70s, low 80s, and at nighttime it can get down in the 50s, maybe upper 40s, but I wouldn't go there, and I've heard that's generally a safe area, but it's too close to Cotabato for me, man. No, thank you. So stay away from that area. But did you catch that Sky Dragon?
Yeah, I got it. Now I just can't find a picture.
Oh, that's fine. But you got my email, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll get it here in a minute.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
So when you served with the 18th, were you out of Stewart?
No, I was actually at Bragg my whole career.
Oh, wow.
I was in aviation unit.
Okay.
The 159th.
I spent a lot of training time in Stewart up there in Rock of the Marne country, and of course I was in Bragg a lot.
Yeah.
Bragg. Now, Fort Bragg, that's not far either from the Marine Corps base there at Camp Lejeune as well, right?
About an hour and a half, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
far
still
enough.
pretty close. Hour and a half. Boy, I miss those days. If something was 90 miles away, it'd take you an hour and a half to get to. Here, you're 90 miles away. It's 4.5 hours. Get to the roads. So, yeah, if they, instead of building a railway like they're talking about, which I think would be stupid, they should go ahead and improve the infrastructure that they already have in place. Because the roads here definitely leave a lot to be desired. So, well, anyway, anybody got anything else to add? I guess we'll wrap it up.
No.
We've been on about an hour, so. Now, Monday.
Yeah, you're dragging, so I don't know exactly what you're saying, Bubba, but I think you're trying to close the show out.
I am.
Okay.
And I was
all
going
right, brother.
you, are you gonna? You're leaving Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I think you wanted to get together Sunday night and see if we could do a show Sunday night, right?
Actually, I'm working Sunday night.
Okay. Well, just let me know, because I could do some from the States.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I can do.
Okay, that's cool. Actually, Sunday night. Now I'm confused. I'm trying to think, would that be Sunday night in the U.S. or Sunday night here?
No, it's Sunday. You wanted to do something on Sunday nights, move some, you know.
I thought about
I
it.
think.
Well, I just had
Yeah,
this
okay.
past Sunday off because it's a big holiday in China. So I
Okay.
actually had the 3 days off, but it's cool, man. Just stick with Monday and Friday mornings, or at least Friday mornings.
All right, brother. Sounds good to me, man.
All right, man. You got anything else to say?
No,
I
I'm
can't
good.
find that picture. I'll find it and put it up on. I'll put it up on in my videos.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That'd be great. I think everybody'd like to see that picture. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty cool pic. So, anyway, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope Johnny has a safe trip. And Sky Dragon, I hope you have a great weekend as well.
You too. Appreciate it.
And thanks for coming on. Great having you.
That was fun.
Oh, cool. Well, everybody, I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and may the sun be shining wherever you may be. Wrong button. Stop.